Welcome, Reds, to the 100% United podcast. We have a jam-packed show for you today after a busy week at Old Trafford. I'm your host, TC, and here's your co-host, Scott. Hi, mate.
Hello.
On today's show, we start by looking at Manchester United's Europa League draw and opponents. We wave goodbye to more of the United squad members to Italy. We assess Ollie's press conference and preview United's trip to Southampton. Then we look at all the academy news, with the under-18s victorious last time out, the under-23s 4-0 winners last week, unfortunately only able to steal a late point at Old Trafford tonight against West Ham. First, Scott, the Europa League draw today. Not the worst. Some interesting trips and ties.
Yeah, it should be a good chance to blood some youngsters, hopefully. I don't think many teams are going to be getting more air miles than us.
No.
Some tricky trips to Kazakhstan. But, you can't really be disappointed with a draw like that, can you?
No, the first thing that popped into my mind when I saw the draw was that's a great opportunity for the youngsters. Obviously, those long trips are going to be a test of the youngsters. I presume, the Belgrade crowd will be something to behold.
Yeah.
And it might be a good sort of training ground for these youngsters too. So, yes, that was my first thought, Scott. Definitely, it will be a great chance for Ollie to bring through some of our youth.
Yeah, but there's also quite a few first-team squad members that need some games as well, don't forget. I think it's just going to be a good chance for everyone to play.
Yeah, I think so. We'll kick off on the 19th of September against Astana at Old Trafford, an 8 o'clock kickoff. Interestingly enough, actually, Reds, just so you know, the home fixtures will be at 8 o'clock this year for the group stages, and then the away fixtures, away to AZ Alkmaar in Holland on the 3rd of October will be 5:55. Away to Belgrade on the 24th of October, they're back-to-back ties, will be 5:55 as well. And then on 28th of November, we travel to Astana. It will take us 6.5 hours to get there, 6,000 miles round trip. We'll start at 3:50 because I presume it'll be very, very cold in November in Kazakhstan.
And also the time difference as well, right?
Yes. And also I must flag up, Scott, it's actually an artificial pitch out there as well.
Yeah.
So we'll be playing on an artificial pitch, which I'll be honest with you, Scott, I've actually had good experience myself playing on artificial turf, and it's a blooming nightmare for the injuries. It really is. It's ghastly.
Yeah.
So we will see about that. As I said, it's going to be a monster trip to Kazakhstan. It actually borders China. So that's how far we're talking. Obviously, we've got AZ Alkmaar over in Holland, Sergio Romero's old team.
Yeah.
Always nice to have a trip to Holland, mate. It'd be nice for the Reds.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Partizan Belgrade, Zoran Tozic, the ex-Red, will be lining up for them as well.
Yeah.
So what do you think overall, mate? Are you happy with that? Well, we've got a Serbian team, a Dutch team from Kazakhstan. We should be easily walking out this group, shouldn't we? No worries at all.
Yeah, we definitely should. And given the chance to put in some good performances, get some good results and some good confidence. But you got to be kind of worried that a lot of travel is going to disrupt our league form, especially given we're playing on Thursdays and not given a lot of time to recover before the weekend games. Those trips to Kazakhstan and Belgrade are going to be really tough.
Yeah.
But given the quality of some of the other teams, there could have been some real difficult ties in. I think we've got some less difficult teams in our group than we could have had.
Yeah. I mean, we do have Astana at home first, then we travel away to AZ Alkmaar, away to Partizan Belgrade. We then welcome Partizan Belgrade to Old Trafford, and then we travel to Kazakhstan in our 5th game. So realistically, we should be over the hill and far away by that one, and hopefully be able to rest some people up.
You'd hope so, but some of these quote-unquote easy groups are sometimes the most difficult ones because you're not mentally preparing for the games as much as you would if there were bigger teams in there.
Yeah, I've always felt that way. Even back in the Fergie years and the glory years, I'd always rather have one really good team, one all right team, and one rubbish team in the group. And you've got a big game, you've got a big home and away leg, you've got another team that's going to test you. I always felt that got Old Trafford up. I tend to historically, when we draw a minnow, Old Trafford's kind of waiting for its entertainment, and it can sometimes go a bit funny for a while.
I definitely agree with you. But, last year we had a couple of big teams in our group and we couldn't really muster up any results against them.
Oh, come on. We had a Juan Mata free kick at Juve, didn't we?
Yeah, I'm actually more talking about home results. I thought you were talking more about the Old Trafford crowd getting into it.
Yeah.
We didn't score a goal at home in Europe last year, don't forget.
And we lost to PSG as well, didn't we?
Yeah.
Even out the group at Old Trafford as well. You're right, Old Trafford really needs to turn it back into a fortress.
Yeah.
I thought we were. Unfortunately, that's gone out the window again. A little side note from that draw, the Liverpool and the Champions League draw that went on as well. The Liverpool match will actually take place on the Sunday now. So it will move from the Saturday to the Sunday at 4:30 instead. Just a little small note, they're actually doing it so City get more of a rest apparently. So nice to help them out, of course. Anyway, on to the squad, mate. More of the Deadwood has left the building. Chris Smalling has gone to Roma on loan. £2.8 million they're going to pay for that. Darmian has gone to Parma on a permanent deal. £1 million they're going to pay us for that.
Amazing.
Yeah. Alexis Sanchez has gone to Inter for a year-long loan. Can I just mention Chris Smalling's loan is without an option to buy.
Yep.
Alexis Sanchez has gone to Inter without an option to buy. And by the sounds of things, we are paying 2/3 of his wages, which can we just stop on that for a second? I mean, we've been talking about this all summer, haven't we, Scott? That we didn't want to pay someone's wages. Are we really going to be paying someone blooming 250 Gs a week to play for Inter Milan?
Yeah.
He's still the third best player in the squad, mate.
Third most paid, not third best.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry, yeah. Oh, God. What a Freudian slip, eh? Blooming hell.
Well, I think it's the price we pay for such a crazy deal. Don't forget, he was a 60, 70 million pound player that we didn't get for any transfer fee, and the ballooned wages just, I think, if anything, it was a catalyst towards his downfall. He just couldn't deal with that pressure. He had a few personal problems here and there, let's not forget. But yeah. I think, again, it's just the price we pay. I prefer to see him out. It alleviates a lot of uncertainty around us, whether we need to play him or, he's the most expensive substitute or the most expensive player dropped. And it gives Mason Greenwood a good chance for a proper run in the team and a bit of reliance on Mason Greenwood, and let's hope he can really step up to the plate.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of reliance, isn't there? He said that Mason and Marcus Rashford and Anthony Martial would lead the line this season. Now, Martial is injured, so already we're going to be leaning on Mason Greenwood. We'll talk a bit about the 23s later on, but already we're seeing the under-23s weakened because the first team is relying on them very, very heavily.
Yeah.
Another thing that came out from those guys leaving the club is that Marcus Rojo apparently is staying, along with all the other centre-backs too, so Phil Jones and Eric Bailly. That's what Ollie said. We do have to caveat that with they're saying that last week he said Alexis Sanchez will be very important and you'd be surprised how many games he'll play this season. So there is definitely a sort of pattern emerging with Ollie, and this isn't a criticism at all. In fact, it might be a compliment, that he's obviously managing press conferences and what is being released to the press, funnily enough. So he basically just says what they want to hear every week, doesn't he? Effectively.
Yeah, but I think as well it shows that he does have a ruthless streak, and it just shows the rest of the players in the squad that they can't just be members of a squad anymore. They've actually really got to contribute, and he's getting rid of some dead wood. I mean, let's not forget Chris Smalling has been a fantastic servant for our team. Fergie had a real soft spot for him, but I don't think he was quite the quality for a starting centre back, was he?
He wasn't, and you're right, Scott. That's actually a very, very good point. We shouldn't just wave him off to Roma. He's of course coming back. It might not be the end of his United career, but he has had some great years at United. I remember when we won the title back from City after losing it on that desperate day. Chris Smalling was integral to that, and I was going week in, week out, and it was lovely to see him grow. I actually had a chat to him after one of the games. It was more me just telling him how bloody brilliant he's playing at the moment rather than chat. And he was such a lovely bloke about it. He was almost sort of shy about it, but he was fantastic that season, and he's always been sort of a great example as a kind of man within the club. He's been a fantastic guy, and he's had some great performances too, mate. Important goals. Let's not forget he scored at City that day when they were going to win the title against us. Some really important stuff, and like I say, I've got nothing but good words to say about Chris Smalling, and like you say, one of the last of Fergie's boys.
Yeah, absolutely. Good servant to the club.
Really, really good. Really good. Another thing that came out, Ollie said that David De Gea is still in talks. So, this, again, like I say, Ollie says what we and the press want to hear. It was a done deal a few weeks ago, Scott.
I don't think he said that. Peter Schmeichel said that, right?
Yes, Schmeichel said that too.
Yeah.
But did Ollie say we're going to announce something soon? I'm sure on the tour.
Perhaps. I can't actually remember that.
And we did say about the Schmeichel one, didn't we? We did say that might just be a phrase that he's used rather than that he's actually saying it's a done deal. He's saying that it is done in theory.
Yeah, there might just be a few image rights and things like that to iron out. Who knows? But at least talks haven't broken down. At least we're still in talks with him. You never know. It might be Ollie's decision himself to be waiting on it. Given his form at the end of last season, neither party's going to be rushing towards the table in order to sign that contract.
No. So yeah, that's that one there. We know for the Southampton game, Timothy Fosu-Mensah is still injured. Eric Bailly is still out as well, and Luke Shaw will miss out, and Anthony Martial too. Scott, what do you expect to happen up front? We've got to make a change now. So we've obviously started the season with quite sort of a fixed group. What's going to go on, do you think?
I think Rashford's going to start up top. I actually think it's going to be the first start for Mason Greenwood.
Yeah.
And maybe those two will chop and change like Martial and Rashford have been doing the last couple of games, but probably from the right.
And what would you think? Daniel James gets a chance on the left?
Yeah, I would.
Is favoured left, or do you think something else?
No, I think it'll be James on the left, Greenwood on the right, Rashford up top. And I'm actually hoping for Pereira at number 10.
Okay.
If not Pogba. I'd like Pogba to start at number 10, but I don't think that's going to happen. So
I've been telling you that for years, Scott.
Yeah.
We will see with that. Pereira's obviously got a history against Southampton. Scored that absolute worldie, didn't he? Scored that goal of the season against Southampton. So good history for him. What would you again go for McTominay? Keep Matic out of the team?
Yeah, I'd go McTominay, Pogba in the centre, playing those two holding midfielders.
Yeah. And at the back, Lindelof obviously had a bit of a shaky game last time out. Do you think we would have been working on trying to cover? Look, if your defence has got one little weakness, and look, our defences look pretty blooming chilled out for this season, haven't they? I know we conceded a couple of goals last week, but in general, they've had quite an easy time of it, just because they're so well organised. If they do need to adapt a little bit to cover up for Lindelof's aerial, a slight inability, I don't think it's too far-fetched for them to be able to fix that.
No, I don't think either. I think that now we're sort of talking about Chris Smalling not being the number one central defender, and if anything, he plays much better having a leader next to him.
He does.
I think Harry Maguire is that leader for Victor Lindelof.
Yeah, no, I do agree. And this is always something we talk about with centre-back partnerships, isn't it? One guy leading the other guy. It makes such a difference. And actually, like you just said, Chris Smalling, when he was alongside Vidic, he was sensational. When he was alongside Rio Ferdinand, he was sensational. He wasn't far off the guy he was playing next to. It was just when those guys were out, the standard dropped, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think when he was playing alongside Phil Jones, he certainly didn't give the best representation of himself.
No. And you know what? It's going to be natural, isn't it? If you're playing alongside someone who is exceptional, it's going to rub off on you. It makes sense. And centre-back, I think, is the position that is most apt. It's most important to have one out of the two who's a real strong leader.
Yeah, you're definitely right.
Right, on to the week's news, mate. Got a bit of, I know you always like a bit of kit updates. I've already got some news for next season's kits for you if you want, mate. I've got the away shirt next season is actually going to be a camo green.
Oh my God.
From what I'm hearing. It's a camo green with a kind of weird sandy green brush strokes on it. So it's going to be another one for the back of the wardrobe, I think, Scott, personally.
Brilliant. Another dog's dinner.
Yep. The home, however, is suspect. The only little snippet I've got is it's going to have red, white and black stripes on the arm. That could be the Adidas stripes, or it could be the hoop stripes around the bottom of the sleeve.
All right.
Now, I know quite a few of the Euro teams are going to have hooped stripes around the sleeve, so it might be that. But it'd be lovely if they did black and white stripes, wouldn't it, on the shoulders?
It might do.
You know, 2 black, 1 white.
It might do.
So yes, that's your kit news 9 months early for you, Scott.
Good stuff.
New signing for the women's team, Swedish Lotta Öqvist from Hammarby. Left back has come in. Women's team's obviously getting a bit more multinational now. We had Gröna signed the Dutch international, and now we've got this Swedish left back as well. They'll be kicking off against City in their first game, so we're getting right stuck into that. Massive year for the women's team, their first year in top division.
Yeah, let's hope they can really push on.
Yeah. And more good news, Brandon Williams, I know you've got your eyes on him for first team opportunities at left back. He made the England under-20s squad today for the first time in his career, joining Angel Gomez as well. So a lovely spot for the guy. Yeah,
I was actually surprised to see him playing for the under-23s. I was surprised to see him not in the first team squad for the weekend, given Luke Shaw's injury.
Yeah, I expected that as well.
I think it'll be Ashley Young to replace Luke Shaw, if anything.
Yeah, and you still think Dave will keep the armband?
I do. Yeah, I do.
I think you're going to be disappointed, but I hope you're right, Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do hope you're right, though. And the Academy under-18s 3-1 winners at the Aon Training Complex last weekend. The 23s had a magic 4-0 win at St James's Park. Did you manage to see the goals of that one, bud?
I actually didn't.
You didn't? Oh, you got to jump on to Heath Chong. Oh, God, absolutely unbelievable.
All right.
Really sensational brace from Tahith.
Another one I was surprised not to see playing tonight in the game, but maybe him and Garner are in the first team squad and have travelled to Southampton.
You move us on nicely, Scott. Actually, the 23s, they drew tonight against West Ham 2-2. Mm-hmm. A late Ramazani goal, pinching the point back in the 88th minute. But as you say, Scott, we were missing Garner. He wasn't there in his number 6 shirt today, banging a brace, was he?
Nope.
Gomez did play,
Yeah.
unfortunately, so that means that's out the window.
Well,
but there was no sign of Chong or Mason Greenwood.
Angel Gomez, I thought, played really well. Really wonderful number 10, isn't he?
Yes, he really is. He picked up a knock at the end, unfortunately. So I don't know how that's going to go. He had his head in his hand. He did walk off. He wasn't stretched off or anything like that. But he did have his head in his hands when he came off.
Well, it was actually a head injury. A West Ham player knocked him on the back of the head in a pretty clumsy challenge. I think, if anything, he went off as a precaution because of that.
I will say, Scott, do you think the protection was enough today in the 23s, or do you think there was a few naughty challenges going in? I thought there was a few.
Weren't there?
Yeah, I thought there was a few too many.
And to be perfectly honest with you, on both sides, I thought we got away with a few challenges that would have been bookings or red cards in the Premier League. But it was nice to see them playing at Old Trafford.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a decent crowd as well.
Yeah, it was.
Really decent crowd. What do you think of Elanga up front? I thought he's really lively today, wasn't he?
He is, isn't he? He's got flashes of brilliance, doesn't he?
Yeah.
As does Aliou Traore. I thought he was playing on the wing. He's usually better in the centre, but flashes of really good quality.
Yeah, him and then Ramazani as well. They were all interchanging beautifully with Gomez slipping in behind. I really like the look of Gomez. I know you're all over him like a rash. He's great, isn't he?
He is, and I think he's definitely got something that could bring to the first team squad pretty instantly.
So he captained the side. 19th birthday tomorrow.
Yep.
Dazzling run. Smashed it into the left-hand corner. The scoreboard end goal. Really nice moment for Angel Gomez, and really nice goal as well. Let's be fair.
It was. He really dictates the play really well in that centre.
Yeah, he's got a lovely manner about him as well. I like him. He's a very likeable character. He's very unusual, isn't he?
He is. He reminds me a lot of his godfather Nanny. Yeah.
Yeah, great point. And really positive attacking play from the 23s. I thought that first half, and do you see the Angel Gomez free kick from 35 yards that whizzed past the post?
I did. I thought it was in. I was off my seat.
Me too.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, mate, we dominate the first half totally, and we got caught unawares. 43rd minute, Nathan Holland. He's a mank actually. First goal this season that we've conceded. For the 23s, and just before half time. What a shame.
Yeah, it was.
Really was. And then, unfortunately, we went 2-1 down, and we struggled. Gomez went off after 80 minutes. But then the 88th minute, O'Connor crossed in for Largi Ramazani, 2-2, and Old Trafford still got a bit of that late magic, mate.
Yeah, if anything, conceding the late goal sort of spurred us on. The second half was a bit flat, wasn't it, after the first half? It was just good to sort of build that belief that we can always score at the end from a young age.
Yes, and there was shades of the team, the under-23s, playing in the same sort of vein as the first team. Did you see that starting to appear?
I did. Really nice, intricate one-touch football.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about a man of the match, Scott?
I think it's got to go Angel Gomez. Even though he went off, I thought he was just fantastic in the middle. But definitely a big mention for Brandon Williams.
Yeah.
Very tenacious defending. I really like the look of him. And another one for Dylan Levitt as well in the middle was really...
Great point. Great point. I thought he was great. Yeah, I thought it was really good. Really good.
But I think you've got to give Angel Gomez a bottle of champagne for his birthday tomorrow.
Fantastic. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And one thing I will say, Scott, 94th minute corner at 2-2.
Yeah.
And actually thought, and I was actually excited about it. If it was the first team, I'd be thinking, well, come on, And even though I knew Angel Gomez was off, I knew we'd still get it in there. We almost scored from it, didn't we?
The first one from the left-hand side, that we got another corner.
And then the one on the right
Didn't get past the post.
No, I know, but the one from the... so we're talking about the opposite ones. The one that we...
Right.
Yeah. God, come on, mate. Be nice and positive today. I've had a nice... it's quite nice doing the Friday pod because we've had 6 days to get the loss out of our system.
That's true.
Which is quite nice, isn't it? It's the blooming Monday pod at the moment after the losses. It's like a blooming... like a morgue.
Yeah, it's true. But every time I see a corner that doesn't go past the first man, I think, oh God, he's going to bring that up, isn't he?
Yeah, I know, Scott. But it's been years now. It's been years that we've been watching United, and we're talking about United that have when we did have great set piece takers, we still didn't seem to manage to do it. It was bizarre.
Yeah, I think David Beckham was the last one who could consistently stick it right in the middle, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. He went through patches when he wasn't so decent with corners as well. Actually, I seem to remember.
You're right, and it comes and goes, right? I mean, how long did it take Ronaldo to hit a free kick that didn't hit the wall?
Yeah.
I mean, it was 3-4 years of him hitting the wall consistently before he managed to figure out a way to get round it.
And then he forgot again.
Yeah. But I think Marcus Rashford's sort of going through the same thing at the moment. He's injuring people in the crowd more than he's actually getting the shots on target.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think Pogba should be on free kicks a little bit more often.
Yeah.
Realistically. I think Pogba can hit a blinding free kick. And when Marcus is on this kind of form from free kicks, you kind of want to give him a rest, I think.
Yeah.
What about penalties, mate? What do you expect to happen on that front at the weekend? Anthony Martial is not an option, so that's taken away our trump card.
Yeah.
And so we still got Pogba and Rashford there. Mason Green would take a penalty, mate?
Yeah, I'd like that.
No, come on.
No, seriously,
what do you reckon?
he took a great one in pre-season in the penalty shootout against Inter Milan. Was it Inter Milan or Tottenham?
AC Milan.
AC Milan, sorry, you're right. Nice chance to get him off the mark, but it's just crazy, isn't it, that we're already talking about penalties. We haven't even got one, but whoever takes it has just got this unbelievable pressure on their shoulders. How about Ashley Young? He took a good one as well against AC Milan. Maybe he can step up to the mark.
He did. Did you see that we've actually missed more penalties in Premiership history than any team?
That's shocking to me because I would have thought we were pretty far down the list of teams that got them.
You know what, mate? It is shocking for two facts: Eric Cantona and Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Yeah.
You know, Eric Cantona, he missed at Leeds, didn't he?
Yeah, one.
But it was like, 36, 37 penalties, I think, something like that. Ruud did miss a couple in the end, but he scored his first however many.
Yeah.
So those two just, for a good few year period, we were just knocking them in. And we didn't seem to miss, Ronnie didn't miss many penalties. He might have missed one in the shootout, missed one against Barca at the Nou Camp in the semis, missed one against City.
Yeah, he did.
Down the middle.
What, the second or third last game of the season when we... I think he still came back and scored, right?
Yeah.
Wayne Rooney missed quite a few.
He did.
Yeah.
But I think it was more of a recent phenomenon, isn't it, this penalty thing?
Yeah.
But yeah, when I think about it, I think throughout the years, I thought we were pretty blooming good at penalties.
And Steve Bruce, right back in the day, he was pretty good at them too.
God.
Yeah.
And Dennis Irwin.
Yeah. Yeah, don't forget Dennis.
Yeah, remember the days, Scott, when we had a centre-back who could bang in penalties? Brucey scored, I think he scored about 18 goals one season.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's an exaggeration either. I'm sure it was about 18. I'm sure he was just shy of 20 goals.
Unbelievable. Never forget that goal he scored against Sheffield Wednesday. Oh my goodness. Or both of them. But second one that had Fergie dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what about Gary Pallister putting the cherry on top?
Yeah, that was having a laugh football, right?
For people who don't know, it was the last day of the season. We'd won the title for the first time in 26 years, and we'd been out partying all week. The boys basically had to drag themselves onto the field. The title was sealed. The title was won, and we had a free kick. And everybody in the squad had scored. Is that right, Scott? I'm sure.
Yeah,
everybody had scored in the squad. Obviously,
Pallister was the only player in the team who hadn't scored.
Exactly, and obviously squads were a little bit smaller in those days. A free kick on the edge of the box, and he just steamed up and smashed it. Check it out on YouTube. Yeah. The old days, 93 title winning celebrations into the bottom corner, and then just stood there like a man mountain and just got smogged. One of my favourite United moments. Absolute magic. You were there, weren't you, pal?
I was. May 3rd, 93. Never forget that.
Mate. The glory years, eh?
And honourable mention, you mentioned Eric Cantona earlier. We've got to mention that he picked up the UEFA President's Award this week, and in true Cantona style, gave the most bizarre acceptance speech you'll ever hear in your life.
It was.
Unbelievable.
I remember back in the day, after the incident at Selhurst Park, the Kung Fu kick, I remember people saying, when he said, that when the seagulls follow the trawler, it's because they expect they will have fish thrown into the sea. And everyone's like, what does he mean? What does he mean? It wasn't that hard to work out.
It was pretty obvious.
That was pretty bloody obvious, wasn't it? This one,
still today, I have no idea he's talking about. I really don't. And to be honest, I saw like the cut version at the beginning when he was just talking about from flies to wanton boys were being played by the gods. And I thought that was weird enough. And then when he carried on going about crimes and injuries and accidents, it was just... Yeah. Ronaldo's face was, mirrored exactly what I was thinking. Just what is he talking about here? I
think he was saying they're playing the players too much.
Really?
I think.
All right.
Flogging them. I think. I don't know, though. But you know what? With Eric, it doesn't matter because he's got a license to do whatever he wants, whenever he wants.
Yeah.
And it was the same at Old Trafford, people talk about Paul Pogba's dress sense. Well, Eric Cantona used to turn up in all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
We used to have black tie events. And Eric Cantona would turn up in full Indian dress.
Yeah.
Like American Indian dress.
Yeah.
like brown leather jackets with tassels coming off them.
Brilliant.
And Fergie would allow it. Fergie would allow that to happen because his performance level was so ridiculously good that you gain the license to do that.
Look what he was wearing the other night. Everyone's all dressed up in their whistle and flutes, and he's there in a flat cap, red shirt, jeans. What are you worried about?
Red pullover from Christmas 17 years ago.
Amazing, right?
Yeah, really amazing.
Didn't even go shopping for the event.
But yeah, as I think we mentioned probably umpteen times on the podcast, I mean, for me, Eric Cantona was my favourite United player of all time. He was the guy who came into the club and made us believe. I actually watched a little montage the other day of Cantona in his time at United, and it's funny. There was a little guy outside Old Trafford. Obviously, we signed Cantona from Leeds, and Leeds are one of our massivest rivals. And at the time, Leeds had just won the title.
Yeah,
Leeds had won the title with Cantona.
Yeah,
he had come here, and there was one of the guys. He was one of the salesmen selling scarves and badges outside the ground. And he says, "Yeah, who are Cantona? You'll never hear us sing that here."
Yeah.
Isn't it funny? And actually, I mentioned that because we do hear our fans now moaning about this and moaning about that, and we do sometimes. And it's funny how wrong you can be sometimes. So yeah, Eric Cantona, the man who made us believe it was all possible, the man who swept into the club, won back-to-back titles, didn't he? Because he had won it at Leeds, then he won at Old Trafford, and then he won it again.
3 in a row.
He actually, Scott, only didn't win the title in England 1 year.
Yeah.
And that year he was banned for blooming half the season.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
an absolutely remarkable man, remarkable player. And my absolute favourite United legend.
And let's not forget as well that he retired in top of his career. You know, he definitely hadn't had a few bad years before he retired. He was an absolute unique, mate, and someone that I don't think we'll ever replace in terms of his exuberance that he brought to the whole club.
Yeah, he was, I'd say, slowed down a little bit in his last season. Mm-hmm. He was carrying a few, wasn't he? Carrying a few extra pounds by the looks of things. Even one of his most famous goals, the chip against Sunderland at Old Trafford. He looks a bit portly, doesn't he? That isn't the Eric that I love the most. The really fit, lean Eric. But you're right, he left way too early, and it broke our hearts, didn't it, pal? Out of the blue that summer, God.
Yeah.
And like we said before, you didn't get drip feed, you didn't get word that it was going to happen. It just came out of the blue, and suddenly Eric was gone.
Oh, yeah, we had no idea, absolutely no idea.
Yeah, and as we discussed, we basically had to sign Sheringham and Dwight York to replace the big man himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What about you? What's your favourite Eric Cantona moment?
Oh, there really were quite a lot. I would say that it's got to be that FA Cup final goal against Liverpool. How he managed to get through 6 defenders or whatever it was. I was there. I was standing with my old man, and it was actually the first goal that ever made me to completely burst into tears. And he came running straight towards us. It was just one of the most crazy I've ever gone from United.
Oh, it was just magical because of course we'd had the year before where we'd lost the title on the last day of the season.
Yeah.
We'd gone to the FA Cup final against Everton. I was at that one.
Yeah.
We got the arse end of the stick there, didn't I?
Yeah, I was there too.
95 was ghastly.
You were in the Everton end, at least.
Mate, I tell you what, I was in the Everton end in a United shirt with a United red and white checkered flag. So, mate, if you want to dig me out for it, I don't know how I survived. I mean,
because they won.
What was I doing?
Yeah, because they won, mate.
Good point, actually. Good point. But yeah, mate, it was. I would say that is definitely one of my favourite Eric moments as well. I wasn't there. I was actually. I had a lucky turn anyway because there was. We were only young, weren't we? 1996.
Yeah.
So what must have been 14, something like this.
Yeah.
It was actually the day of the Middlesex Sevens, the rugby sevens, and my old man always used to hire a van, and we used to fill it full of beers, fill it full of food, and it was basically the one day where I could get totally smashed. And my parents are totally cool with it. And it fell on that day so I actually watched that FA Cup final on a TV, put into the back of a van, getting absolutely smashed out of my skull as a little kid. So it was, for me, that was a magical moment as well. With Eric, there's too many to count. There really is. I mean, there's the goal against Arsenal that I love, where he chested it. That sort of epitomised Eric's grace and uniqueness, the way it went down the middle, crossbar, and it was so bizarre, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was a magic moment.
Let's not forget his comeback, October 1st, 95.
2-2.
Yeah, against Liverpool.
Nicky Butt opened the scoring, didn't he?
Yeah, he set up a goal after 45 seconds.
He did.
And then when he scored that penalty, he went climbing up the flagpole.
Spinning round, yeah. Absolutely. Glorious moments as well. And that chip against Sheffield United, I watched that again. We were chatting about that the other week.
Yeah.
What a goal that was.
Ridiculous.
Get out of town. Yeah. Oh, pass from Giggsy, touch from Cantona in the middle. Absolutely off the chain. Yeah. Absolutely brilliant, mate.
Yeah.
Really, really fantastic. So Eric, man, he deserves everything he gets, man. I'd give him every award under the sun if I had it my way.
Absolutely.
And I will say, actually, if we are talking statues outside Old Trafford, As it stands, we have Sir Matt Busby, and we have Sir Matt Busby's Holy Trinity. We have Charlton, Best and Law outside there with Sir Matt. I think it's about time Fergie started getting some friends, and I would personally put Eric at the very top of that list.
Yeah, I'd maybe put Giggsy up there, given the longevity, but Eric definitely wouldn't be far behind.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly have a few.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I'm not taking away from the Giggsy one at all. For me, Eric is just, he made it all possible.
Yeah.
He came in. I don't know, what did your old man make of Eric? Because he was he
loved him.
He was an old school. He had seen United through the glory years and then some bad years. And so he wasn't like us. So we were sort of, we just loved him. He was a brand new hero, this majestic guy. What would your old man think of him?
He loved him. He was always more surprised at the quality that foreign players brought into our game.
Yeah.
He was in love with him from the first minute. He definitely was singing "Eric Cantona." Don't worry about that.
It's actually another thing we've touched on before. I think that when a foreign player comes into United and takes us into his heart, it's a different thing. Look, we love the class of '92. The fact that they are proper Reds from birth till death, that's amazing. But there's also something magic about, like we said, the Eric Cantonas, the Patrice Evras, the Ole Gunnar Solskjaers, who come in and just fall in love.
Yep.
And they just can't get out of their head. And they become a Red for all of eternity. And there's no other option. Rio Ferdinand was another one. He's not a foreigner, but he was not a United fan. He was a Londoner, West Ham boy. For him to come and just embrace the culture of the club with that intensity, for me, that is something extra special. I can certainly see what your old man's talking about there.
Yeah, I remember when Eric scored that goal at Newcastle in 95, 96, I think it was, that we won 1-0. I was at boarding school and he used to call me late at night and let me know what had happened.
Yeah.
He said, you've never seen a volley like this. He stuck it in the bottom corner and started howling like a wolf. Yeah, he loved him. Great memories.
That was a special day at St James's, actually. It was one of those days where you look back and, in a title race, often you're going along and you think, oh, this is a monumental result. This is a monumental weekend. And when you get to the end of the season, you look back and you go, actually, it wasn't after all. But that game, it changed everything. It broke their hearts, didn't it?
Yeah.
The Schmeichel's performance was immense, and that made them feel like whatever they tried, they couldn't get something out of us.
Mm-hmm.
And like you say, Eric, always a man for the big occasion. That season particularly, he banged in God knows how many winners.
Yeah.
1-0, Cantona, every blooming time.
I think as well it was title deciding, and it was in March, and we were still 8-9 points behind them or something like that. Yeah. But it just completely broke their spirits, and as they say, the rest is history.
It did, because at the end of the season, they were still in the hunt.
Yeah.
We still had to go to Middlesbrough on the last day, and that was another blooming lovely day. Actually, remember Giggsy's goal in that one?
I do. Andy Cole as well. First touch.
Yeah, first touch. Yeah. Absolutely brilliant, mate. So Eric Cantona, fantastic, and thanks for giving us a little trip down memory lane as well.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Well, we'll head off to Southampton tomorrow. We'll be back on Monday, hopefully in good spirits after putting 3 points back on the board. Don't forget to subscribe on your favourite podcast app, iTunes, Spotify. Thanks for joining me again, Scott.
Thank you, mate.
Cheers, Reds.
Ta-ra.